Propaganda. Can we look up the word propaganda? Let's look up that word. Propaganda. That word propaganda. I don't even know how to spell it. P-R-O something. Propaganda. Watch what it says. It says derogatory information, especially of a biased or misleading nature. You know what is it? There was much propaganda about Malcolm X, much propaganda about Nat Turner, much propaganda about Jesus Christ. Huh? And the Panthers. Who was the one they shot up in his bed? Was it Bobby's?
That was Fred Hampton.
Thank you. Fred Hampton. The brother was how old? He was 26, 25?
21, 22. He was young, very young.
In his bed, sleep, and the cop shot out from the outside, lit him up while he was asleep. They said, oh, he shot first. But they said, but why are all the bullets, when they examine the walls, coming from the outside in? Propaganda, they slandered him and said he was this. And you had black people go, some black people, not all. Yeah, Bob, Fred Hampton, he wasn't right. Remember we saw some time ago about Malcolm X, like it is, Gil Noble. He said, what kind of man is, he said he believed all that he had read about Malcolm X until he heard him for himself. You even had one of his bodyguards. He said, what kind of man is this who doesn't know his own last name? Propaganda. All kind of slanderous information went out.
Are y'all getting this? The reporter was basically giving his mind state before he was enlightened by Malcolm's teachings. And he was saying that he looked at him like, man didn't know his own name. He was crazy, this, and that, and the other. So he was basically giving you an insight, a viewpoint of the Negro's mind in America.
Exactly. Propaganda. You had, what's the name of that newspaper that came to us in 1088? Vice. And said, these guys is in a basement. Look at it. It's filthy. It's disgusting. They are no threat to anyone. Total ridicule. The whole thing, propaganda. And you had Israelites go, look what they said about him. They said, but that didn't work. Let's get some more. Oh, Nathaniel Israel, he's arresting innocent men driving by and shooting them. And black people, yeah, see, I told you it wasn't right. Propaganda. Propaganda. What did it say? Can we look at it? Let's go back to propaganda again. Derogatory information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view. So now, Sirach 28, please. Sirach, propaganda.
The book of Sirach, chapter 28, and verse 14. A backbiting tongue hath disquieted many.
Propaganda. And when we read that, we usually use it in context of one-on-one, how somebody would speak against another. But propaganda does the same thing. But it's on a national level, a media level. Read it again.
A backbiting tongue hath disquieted many, and driven them from nation to nation.
I'll give you another example. Like when you said earlier about Bill Cosby. How many black people ran with that propaganda? He did it, he's guilty. When it quieted down, you know what they did? They hired a black comedian who shall remain nameless to go out on stage and make a joke about Bill Cosby being a racist. And they used that platform to stir it up again. And this is a no-name comedian. Nobody even, I couldn't tell you his name if I saw his name on my phone, I wouldn't recognize it. But they used a no-name brother to ridicule Bill Cosby, and they built on that. They said, see, it didn't come from us black people. It came from your own black brother right there. That's propaganda. That's how white society gets down. You pit one against another. Right, so that way you'll never trust each other. That's the same thing. Listen good what I'm saying in the Israelite community. Read it again, Captain.
A backbiting tongue hath disquieted many, and driven them from nation to nation. Strong cities hath it pulled down, and overthrown the houses of great men. A backbiting tongue hath cast out virtuous women, and deprived them of their labor.
So that goes for women too. Some women have gone through backbiting propaganda. Oh, she's this. Oh, she's that. And to deprive them of all the good works that they had. That almost happened to our sister Susanna. But the Lord had Daniel stand up on her behalf, all praises. Okay, what verse you at, Captain?
That was verse 15.
Read.
Verse 16. Whoso hearkeneth unto it shall never find rest.
You brothers and sisters that listen to propaganda, that listen to lies, it says, whoso hearkeneth unto it shall never find rest. Go ahead.
And never dwell quietly.
And shall never dwell quietly. Read on.
The stroke of the whip maketh marks in the flesh, but the stroke of the tongue breaketh the bone.
There's something when we're children, we're taught to recite something when people call us names. Sticks and stones may break our bones, but words will never hurt us. God says that's not true. Words will hurt. Read that again so we can see that pattern precept again. Read that verse.
But the stroke of the tongue breaketh the bones.
Y'all see that? You know what the tongue can do? The tongue can get people killed. The tongue, if you ever seen Rosewood, anybody seen the movie Rosewood? A tongue, propaganda, got the whole town of Rosewood destroyed. You had one white woman say, he raped me. The whole town set on fire. Propaganda, lies. Okay? Don't think it cannot happen today. That got Emmett Till put to death. Okay? Remember when Herod said, or was it Pontius Pilate said about Christ, I find nothing wrong with this man. You had black Israelites saying, crucify him or you're not a friend to Caesar. Crucify him, and got all the black Israelites to chant, kill him, kill him. Propaganda. Misleading, derogatory information. Read it again, Captain.
The stroke of the whip maketh marks in the flesh, but the stroke of the tongue breaketh the bones.
Go ahead.
Many have fallen by the edge of the sword, but not so many as have fallen by the tongue.
So Sirach here says many have fallen more by the tongue, the things you say, the lies you put forth. Go ahead.
Well is he that is defended from it.
That's why, brothers, sisters, we cannot get caught up in propaganda. That's why when we hear something, don't run with that. I don't care what the media says. I don't care what the Israelite camp says. Don't run with it. Go ahead.
Well is he that is defended from it, and hath not passed through the venom thereof.
It's poison. Go ahead.
Who hath not drawn the yoke thereof, nor hath been bound in her bands.
Come on.
For the yoke thereof is a yoke of iron, and the bands thereof are bands of brass. The death thereof is an evil death. The grave were better than it. It shall not have rule over them that fear God.
Wait a minute. Read that precept one more again.
It shall not have rule over them that fear God.
If you fear the one true God, brothers and sisters, propaganda, lies, derogatory speech will not rule your life. And we always give sisters a hard time about gossip, but guess what? Men gossip too, sometimes worse than women. Okay? And the Bible says what? One more time?
It shall not have rule over them that fear God.
So if all of us in here fear the one true God, we cannot let propaganda, lies rule our tongue, rule our lives. Go ahead.
Neither shall they be burned with the flame thereof. Such as forsake the Lord shall fall into it.
But if you forsake the Lord, you're going to fall into derogatory speech. You're going to fall into propaganda. Go ahead.
And it shall burn in them.
And it shall burn in them. Go ahead.
And not be quenched.
And that fire will not be quenched in you. You run around with something you heard. I heard this, or I read such, and I believe it. Oh, drop dead and die.
Shalom, Israel. I'm Elder Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. YouTube likes to shut our channels down, as some of you have noticed, ever so often. Subscribing to join IUIC will assure you will always stay connected to our YouTube accounts. We want to do our best to make sure this truth gets out. Please click and join our subscriber YouTube channel called Join IUIC to stay linked to all of our videos. So again, please make sure you subscribe to this Join IUIC channel to get your latest updates from all our YouTube channels. Shalom.